Hello and welcome to Midwest Writers Room. Our mission is to encourage, educate, and celebrate writers of the Midwest. I'm Luella Schmidt.
And I'm Ken Humphrey. Today's chapter break episode features Mike Matzdorff and his latest publication, The Universe. It came out June 10th, 2025.
Mike is a Wisconsin native, first time author, and two-time father. He worked in film and television for 30 plus years. Some credits include Fight Club, Meet Joe Black, Monk, and a bunch of Warner Brothers cartoons. He spends time in Door County in the summers and Lambeau Field in the winters. Mike most recently was a consulting producer on the new CNN original Breaking Bread. The Universe is his first novel. There's another ready for the world. Ben Birch Can Fix Anything, a warm hearted revenge thriller. And he's nearing his first draft on his third Reset, which will be some light dystopia.
All right, so let's talk about The Universe. Let me give you the synopsis on this one here. So, messages from the universe are delivered all the time. That is exactly what Katie called it after her husband's sudden death. But what if the universe is run out of an office in New York City? The Universe is about a woman whose life implodes. She meets someone who hires her for a new job at the Queens, New York office of the universe, where she gets to see and participate in how the sausage of existence is made. The parallel timeline of mysterious universe employees from the distant past collides with the modern day story. Someone at the universe is risking existence by not doing their job. In the end, who will prevail? Will life as we know it continue?
Hey,
Interesting.
welcome.
That is the question. Thank you.
We're so happy to have you with us for our very first video recording of a chapter break. Yay.
So, talk to us about this story. Just reading the synopsis, I kind of get some vibes from things like Men in Black, from some of these other kind of meta type stories where, it's a behind the scenes thing. But how did you come up with this idea?
I've heard the Men in Black reference before, and I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy
Yep.
falls in there a little bit too. Um, Really, the core of it came when I was sitting in my girlfriend's apartment, and she had a book of basically positive thoughts and putting things out to the universe, and I thought to myself, well, what if there's actually a universe to put things out to? What if it's an office somewhere? What if it runs out of an office in Queens? Just because I like the way that sentence flows, and that was really kind of the first idea. And it was just two people work there, and they never speak to each other. They never see each other. One comes in, the other goes out, and they get stacks of paper just dropping out of the sky for them with orders to execute in order to be sure things keep going on track. And then I looked around my apartment. I said, I could film this here. And I have a few windows. And I said, what if out each window was somewhere else or sometime else? And what if these people could magically like step through these windows and be in India or be in France or be in the North Pole, whatever, in order to just do one tiny thing. And then we can follow like the results of what they did and how it affected something way down the line across the world, sort of butterfly effect kind of thing. Or if they didn't do something that they were supposed to do because they had their own agenda, or they didn't think it was important, or they just wanted to feed the ducks in Lake Geneva, which happens in the book.
Really?
Not this Lake Geneva, other Lake Geneva. But
Talk
yes,
on it.
yes.
Because I live near this
Yeah.
Lake Geneva. It's quite exciting. So from beginning, when you wrote the first word, so you typed at the end, how long did this book take you to lay out there?
Um, I think I probably outlined for about 3 or 4 months, and I was going out of my mind with the outlining. And I finally said, I just have to start writing it. I was compelled to start writing it. And I think from probably mid-December of 2023, which is when I started, I had a 90-page first draft uh, before the end of the year. I went crazy in like 2 or 3 weeks. And you mentioned in the synopsis where there's parallel timelines. Well, that was really only one timeline. There was an opening scene which started in Rome in early 1600s, and then the rest of it was current day stuff. And I thought it'd be fun to explore, like, because there's I don't want to, no spoilers, And I don't want there to ruin anything for anybody, but there is some interesting twists about the characters in the book from the old days and how they correspond with the ones in current day. And it travels from 16, 17, 18, 19, early 1900s, all the way up to yesterday.
So did you do a lot? I mean, what was your research like? Just to sort of like, how
Uh,
deep did you go?
Well, it's really interesting because you want authenticity in historical research, and there's a ton of it out there. I mean, uh, if I was looking for something like bad that happened, for example, uh, there is there was a series of wars in Spain in the early 1800s, I think. Forgive me, the timelines are a little hazy right now, but I need something bad that happened in Europe in the early 1800s. What do you got for me, internet? Um, and so it comes up with stuff, and then I let's say the bad things happened because someone didn't do their job at the universe. So, what was the job that needed to be done?
Yeah.
And when did it fail to happen? And what was the decision for that failure? Or was it intentional? Was it an accident? Like there's one twist in the book which has to do with the Titanic. The Titanic.
Clearly a message missed by the universe.
Yeah, well, it was a mistake actually. Well, because one of the players from the old times uh, broke into the wrong cabin on a boat that was going from France to England and dumped the liquor of the second officer, not the captain, which didn't prevent the crash from happening, which was the guy who was going to be the designer of the double walled hulls on the Titanic that never happened.
Ooh, I love
And
that.
so that went down. On the bright side, though, because of that, John Lennon and Paul McCartney met.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, easy connection. I see exactly how that happened.
Well, it's you never know. The universe works in mysterious ways.
Yes, your butterfly effect I like.
Yeah. So what genre would you classify this as? I mean, is it a humorous story? Is it
I think
philosophical pondering story?
as someone who is poorly read, that's me, and I didn't really consider it ahead of time, and I signed up with a little publisher, and she said, "What?" She asked the same question, and I said, "What do you think it is?" And so we talked about it for a while, and I did some research on genres, and I think it falls squarely in speculative fiction, but she also suggested one which I thought was interesting, which I had also never heard of.
She suggested what?
Another genre
Another
that
genre.
it could be, which was absurdist fiction,
Oh,
Absurdist.
which I mean, I feel like speculative fiction, like it's a regular world where behind the scenes things are happening, which are unusual or impossible or otherworldly.
Yeah.
I also think we got a question that you and I often ask other people is pantser or plotter. Sounds like you're a plotter if you spend all that time kind of laying out, diagramming out the book. All right. Is that for the other ones coming? Are you taking the same approach?
Um, I love that question and that phrase, by the way. I think it's great. I think that what I learned in this one, especially, and I think in the subsequent two books, I've taken this approach. The I really outlined the hell out of the universe, and I quickly saw that it wanted to do other things than what I had in mind. The characters develop, ideas pop into your head, and it's just you. I learned to follow those ideas and see and ignore what I wanted to do, and just go where it wanted to go. And so I think the universe was very much a mix of those two things because it was very well plotted out, and then the plot was completely diverted. I mean, I think that I like to know where things end. And I think we had plotted out the end of the universe, but then I wrote another chapter after it. Um, and so I think like if I have a beginning and an end, and I think about characters a little bit in the middle and how bad can I make it for them, those are the three elements that are most helpful to me now, I think.
that probably resonates with me the most too. That's kind of what I do. I'm like, here's where everything starts. Here's everything wraps up.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a couple points in the middle that I want to hit.
Yeah.
But other than that, just let it rip.
Yeah.
For that.
That's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
I'm Can I ask, I'm really curious, you've had such an interesting long career in different arts,
Mhm.
and then this is your first novel, and I'm wondering if you would share a little bit with us on just your thoughts on how writing was different or similar to things that you've done in the past.
I love to write. I'm compelled to write. I Every day I do something. Um, I've uh, and so I think that it's easily the most fun job that I'm the most obsessed about to do. Um, I think that I came out of college a long time ago,
Same.
and I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know going into college, and I saw some when I was in photography school, and I saw some. People come in and they speak, like not necessarily career recruiters, but just people presenting their stuff. And so this guy came in from an editing house, post production for commercials, and I said, "Well, that looks like fun. I'll do that." And so I pursued that for a good long time. I worked on commercials. I worked on television shows. I worked on feature films, animated shorts, animated feature films. Um, and I think that to compare writing with a career of post production, if you're editing someone's film, you're editing someone's film. So that means someone is standing behind you and thinking about, like, oh, can you the question, like, is that the best take, is one of my favorite questions because it's fully subjective, and it, and that's not arbitrary what the best take is, but it's subjective. And so I think, like, I picked the one that I liked the best, and I never liked it when I had to, like, sacrifice a collaborative effort to someone else whose idea I didn't like as well.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that's one thing I really enjoy about writing. I mean, I do have people read uh, when I'm done with things. I've got hired beta readers twice, 2 or 3 times, and great insights. Interesting to hear their takes. Um, but I think I like the independence of writing most of all, and that this book is exactly what I wanted it to be. There was zero sacrifice. I wanted illustrations. There's like 15 illustrations throughout the book. I wanted the story. I wanted the characters. I helped to design the cover with someone who has some design skills. So it's really like exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, and, being an author, you really truly are your own boss, right? I mean, you say, "Oh, you're a business owner, your own boss," but no, you're kind of controlled by the public, by your customers, by the fact that you need them. But as an author, you know, by the time your book's done, that's it, right? I mean, you control all aspects of it, and whether someone likes it or not, at that point, it's kind of out of your hands, right? Because the book's
Oh
out
yeah,
there in the wild, and further, they can't tell you anything to do with the book because it's already done. So you truly are kind of on your own and your own boss, master of your own domain. So yeah, that really resonates with me when you say that about being independent.
yeah. A friend of mine said something which I thought was really funny, because my buddy John, we get together and have breakfast every now and again, and I had breakfast with him during the writing of the universe, and then during the writing of Ben Birch, and during the writing of Reset. And every time we talk, it's like it's almost like you have a new girlfriend, and
Talk it up about it.
you've forgotten about the last one entirely. Let me tell you what I'm doing right now, and isn't it great? And blah blah blah. And what was that? What about your other book? Oh, it's fine. Um, and so I think it's just really interesting, sort of a bit of a fickle relationship with it, where it's so intimate and so involved
Hmm.
and so consuming, and then suddenly it's
Here's
like
all of my soul on the page, and
yeah,
now get
now
out.
it's in the rearview mirror, and you're like, who? What?
Yeah. What was the name of the main character? I
Yeah,
don't remember. It's like 3 books. I
yeah,
don't even know anymore. So let's talk a little bit about the publication. See, you got a publisher.
yeah,
Now, what was that path like for you to get a publisher? Because this is your first.
yeah.
Now, the first one you submitted for publication, correct?
Yes.
Try and get published. So, what
Yeah.
was the path like landing your publisher? Who'd you go
Um,
with?
well, I went with a very small publishing house called Green Crow Publishing, and it's been super educational. It's been really interesting and fun. I think the path that I took was, and I will preface this by saying I'm impatient sometimes. Um, I did what everyone else who's trying to make this work does, which is to submit to representation because you want to get hooked up with Simon and Schuster or Random House or Penguin or big boys, big people. And more often than not, you get the letter that's like, really great work. It's not right for us. We're not right. We're not the right people for you. Uh, in the shape of a form letter, and I think that's one thing. I know they have a lot to do. They're very busy. Take 60 seconds and write a personal note. That's what I would do. But anyway, so I attempted going that route for a while, a couple of months, I think. And I hear people doing it for 5 or 6 years. I'm like, how in the hell do you do
I would
this?
never make it that long.
Yeah. And so I started saying, well, what are my other options? I could self-publish. I can go to smaller publishing imprints, which may or may not be interested in this sort of thing. And I submitted to a few, and I heard back from a couple, and I decided on one. And it's, really good experience working with them. I think that the, you know, just the parts that are collaborative, like fixing how it's this certain sentence structure, or punctuation, or the editing. She was very complimentary of the editing but I've been editing film for 30 years, so I feel okay about my ability there.
Not your first rodeo, right?
Yeah, well, it's like story construction was my craft, and so, but I think dealing with the publishing company and the person at the publishing company, and it's been educational, fun. I learned a lot of stuff. I'm very kind of involved in what's going on and the promotional stuff and all that, which I think is super important and very difficult. Um, and so uh, that's the path that I took to get there, and I'm eager to see what happens with the next one. I want to let the first one stew for a while, and then I'll see what to do with the next one.
Yeah. I think
It's a strong plan.
it seems like a lot of writers we come across have done, different paths for different books. Like there's, not as many that are just exclusively independent published or exclusively big publishers or
Right.
traditional published. So people tend to kind of just go with the flow more nowadays, I think.
It's starting to
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, well, I
Mhm.
think another thing's kind of interesting is like I come from a background of television and film, and so people have told me, and reviewers have said, it's kind of it seems like a film, this book, or there are parts that are written and they're very visual, and I'll say thank you to that. Whether or not it was a compliment, I don't know, but I think that I am working with my good friend on a TV pitch for the universe, and I feel like the the next book also could make a great TV series. I feel the third one I'm going to write into a stage play
Ooh.
because it's a bit of a two-hander. It's
What does that mean, that term? Too?
Well, it's a we were talking a few minutes ago about uh, stuff off camera, and we're going to repeat that.
Before you guys showed up.
That's right. So the story it's a story that basically takes place over several therapy sessions, and it's between someone who could be the last man on earth and his AI bot therapist. And this is in the future. And because it's two people most of the time, or one person talking about what happened, uh, or this same person having conversations with his computers, which were also part of the problem. It's a very contained. It could be a very contained thing, and essentially two people on stage.
Got it.
And so
Interesting.
that's how I use it. I could be completely wrong, but that's that's my understanding. Yeah, and I think that I'd be real interested to see how it works for a stage play, because it could be a very small, self-contained black box thing with some. And now I'm thinking of what visuals might be sort of broadcast onto a screen, and what it's in a therapist's office, or it's him standing on a mountaintop, but still alone.
Yeah.
And so
what fun for you to get to create the story
Oh,
that
yeah.
might
So
become
fun.
the TV show.
So
I love that.
I mean, it would be great.
It really would.
I think these are the pipe dreams of everyone who's writing, and I realize things do happen. Um, I, I enjoy the writing part so much that if they happen, that's great. But
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep plowing through on the writing because it's fun.
Yep. Right, best way to approach it. So before we get into the reading, I got to touch on one last thing. So the audio version of your book,
Yeah.
you have Tony Shalhoub
Yes.
reading, which many of our audience may recognize as Monk.
Mm-hmm.
I never watched Monk. I saw him in Wings.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's where I first was exposed to him because I was a fan of that show, and then the Men in Black
Yeah.
appearance there. But how did you guys connect? You have a credit for Monk on there. Is that how you guys originally connected, or?
Well, he's my uncle, as a matter of fact.
Well, there
It's
you go.
funny you said that because when I met you, I thought, oh, interesting. You look a little bit like Tony Shalhoub, and you're both from Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys knew that, but both of them are
Okay.
from Green Bay.
Yeah.
And that's funny. I can kind of
Yeah.
see it.
Well, we've worked together a few times, and
Yeah.
I like to think he has enjoyed the work. I wrote a film that we shot up in Door County. What year is it? About 15 years ago, called Feed the Fish, which you can rent on iTunes or buy on Amazon, whatever. And it was about a $250,000 movie that we made, so not a big budget, but a lot of fun. And I worked on Monk for a season, and he did the audiobook for this. And also, there's this CNN Breaking Bread show, which Tony is hosting. It's coming out in September. But it was my idea, and brought it to Tony, and then he brought it to a producer. And um, after only 10 years of talking, it's happening. So
That's great.
it's really
Only
cool.
10 years.
Really cool. And I've seen a couple episodes of that, the edits and stuff. So they're not done, but they're really, really fun.
So Mike's got a Substack, and we'll put a link in the show notes for this episode so people can find it. And you have a story where on your Substack with a little clip of Tony reading it, and he does a really nice job. It's a great voice for an audiobook.
Yeah.
It's not his first one, right?
It is not his first one.
No.
It's funny. We sat in New York together, and we did it in a bedroom of his apartment there. And we just I recorded and checked to be sure it was all the right words, because sometimes people correct things. We actually did a few corrections on the fly of just things that sounded better in a certain way. And then I went through and edited the audiobook, which was that was fun too.
Wow. Many skills you have.
Yeah.
Many skills.
Renaissance man. All right. Well, should we jump into the reading?
You bet. So Mike is going to read an excerpt from his book, The Universe.
So it's from the paperback of The Universe. This is a chapter called Finding John. And without giving away too much, let's read. I don't want to tell you too much about it in case you want to read the book. And these chapters don't have numbers. They have names, which makes it hard to find the number sometimes. Finding John. In front of Katie on the small screen is a long list of the moments in John's life. His teenage years, the day they met, their first date, meeting friends and relatives, falling in love, family fractures, and future plans. Where on earth to start? John shared a lot with Katie, and yet there were things she had never heard about. The man had a life before me, she says. One entry catches her eye. Oh, yes. A small puff of laughter involuntarily escapes her lips. She presses play. The hologram starts to move. It's John, probably 18 years old, and Rachel, his first girlfriend. Katie had teased him into showing her Rachel's picture. That hair, she had said at the time. Mine was just as bad, was his answer. Katie had heard the story of this day, but to see it like this gives her some satisfaction. I don't know how I'm going to explain this, and I'm sorry, said John. I'm not in love with you, and I don't think I'm ever going to be. That's right, Katie says, smiling. Definitely not his type. It's like looking through the greatest family photo album ever made. She goes back further in time. John is 12, crying and choking on his words. A man lifts a dead dog out of the trunk of a cream-colored Chevy Camaro. It just ran out into the street. I'm so sorry. Katie remembered this story too. Patches was a mix of a Springer Spaniel and a Beagle. The dog was running alongside John as he rode his bike from the corner store. It ran into the street to chase a bird and right into the path of an oncoming car. John had described the yelp of the dog to her before. and the terrifying sound of its bones breaking as it tumbled under the car, and the skid of the Camaro. He held back tears any time he recalled the story or saw a dog that looked similar. Some moments she remembers perfectly. Some have slipped into her subconsciousness. Others are surprises. His future plans, their plans. How would those plans have played out, she wonders? What might have happened if he hadn't died? Was he supposed to die? Katie thinks about that idea in any moment that she is alone in the city, or in their bed, or in their kitchen, basically all the time. This is the biggest emotional roller coaster she has ever been on. Events spread out over decades compressed into a single sitting. It's exhilarating. It's exhausting. She needs a break. The water cooler beckons. Bubbles gurgle to the top of the bottle as she fills a paper cup. There's an art to asking the right questions, Mike had said. Looking for John was the plan. The cursor stands, pulsing slowly on the screen, awaiting command. The hologram stands by. Katie is, however, mentally full, as after a holiday dinner. Everything looks delicious. Everything tastes delicious. And with a gluttonous exhale, the moment arrives when nothing more can be ingested, and the button on your pants must be undone. The field next to the cursor is filled with the word external and a downward pointing arrow. As Mike had explained, this indicates that the search is outside of company employees. Again, like at a holiday dinner, when you somehow find room for pie and coffee, and then sneak a second piece of pie right out of the tin. Katie clicks the drop-down menu and changes the query to internal. She has no idea how long she has been alone in the archives, watching and searching. She glances over her shoulder, hesitant about her next move, to ensure no one is spying. Satisfied she's alone, she enters a name on the keyboard, Michael Romano, and presses enter. A whir of activity emits from the endless stacks of blinking lights. They flicker at a new pace, accelerating. On the screen, a list builds rapidly and tumbles past the boundaries of the screen. It begins with current activity. She recognizes some of their conversations and chats with other coworkers. Stay in the game. This is tier 1. Are you ready? It seems like it's in reverse order of occurrence. I told him there was a spider on his face. Sometimes you just got to let off some steam. The images in the hologram span recent history, near past, then decades, then centuries. Mike's age slowly changing, the world he was in devolving into historical fossils, the 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, and earlier. The numbers in the lower corner of the hologram keep counting down. The year, she guesses. The whirring stops. The lights calm. The cursor blinks at entry number 1 in Mike's list. The number on the hologram is 1609. Katie pushes away from the table and stands up. More than 400 years ago. She wasn't kidding. Hearing stories from Mike had felt like tall tales, exaggerations spun for entertainment. But now, there it is, his life. The cursor pulses patiently. The pinpoint lights are relaxed, awaiting instructions. She presses play. The footage is from an awkward angle, in motion. Someone is running. The pinpoint lights flicker and flash. She can't see Mike, but she hears the scuffling of feet. Soft shoes on a dirt surface. Mike is somewhere in this. It's his search result. A stressed voice whispers in German. The voice belongs to a young woman. She's carrying a baby. She slips and nearly falls, and the baby starts to cry. Katie gasps as the woman briefly passes through a sliver of moonlight. She slams her fingers on the space bar to stop the playback, then reverses it frame by frame to get another look. Katie pauses as the woman's face fully enters the light. Her hands clutch the child, her gaze filled with trepidation as she looks over her shoulder, possibly a pursuer. Katie leans in closer. The shape of the mouth, the high cheekbones, the fiery, intense eyes. There's no mistaking it. Oh, Katie whispers. Brooke.
Well, way to leave ended on a cliffhanger.
So I gotta say, this concept has kind of been with me through my life, that people who have gone before you, like grandmas and grandpas have passed, can look down from heaven and see everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thought that somebody could just scroll back through my life and look at everything before I even met them, I'll be honest, that kind of freaks me out.
None of us want to be seen 100% of the time.
Well, thank you.
Exactly.
Well, all of this is being recorded for the archives from somewhere.
That's true.
Exactly. I'm not going to need this recording. I got the better one.
That was fun. Thank you.
Oh, my
Yes.
pleasure. Thank you.
Tell us where people can find your books or find more about you.
I have a little personal website. It's mikematsdorf.ju.mp. I'm on most of the social media at Mike Matzdorff on Instagram and Threads and Facebook. Just search the last name up. And what else? Substack. I try to spend not too much time on social media, but that's the best place to find me. The book. On my little website, there's a link to a purchase page and like 10 different places to buy it: Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Audible, other places in Europe, in America. So that's a good way to start, or greencrowpublishing.com. And I'm trying to think of other ones. I think that's all the resources. And just one note I wanted to mention, which I forgot to tell you guys also, is I'm kind of obsessed with writing, but I'm also a tech nerd. And I have been in the writing of the books and stuff. I use different software, and I think I like this software, but it doesn't quite fit the bill. And this one, it fits the bill that was missing, but it's missing something else. And so actually, over the last couple of months, I've designed 2 pieces of software that I'm going to be starting a little community with and putting out into the world as well.
We're going to have you back to talk about that.
Yeah,
Just
well,
for
I will.
that.
I would love, if you guys want to have some access and
Writing
some testing.
software built
Well,
by a writer.
yeah, writing software built by a writer. Yay!
Yeah.
And I think I have a little plan to hopefully people can use the software and submit some stories back, and we can publish them for them
Nice.
on the site and create a little community with that. So it's kind of exciting, and it's called Bias, because some software is better than others.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I'll definitely keep you guys posted about the upcoming books and the software if you want to muck around with, or if any of you guys want to have some free time and play and write, and or if you're students, it's sort of geared towards a few different crowds.
Yeah.
But that'd be really really cool to try out.
I mean, as somebody myself who's done, I've run through different writing programs. Right. I'm like, I like Scrivener for this, but I like Plotter for this, and I like Writer.com for that. But I don't use one across all my books.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I wish it did this thing that this one does, but this one doesn't work. This one does.
Yeah, well, I use Ulysses a lot, and I write on an iPad a lot, but the desktop and the iPad are different. I like that I can pick up my phone and do a quick idea. I mean, I did that on the way over here, just for something. But this idea of like a unified thing that I can use anywhere, anytime on anyone's computer it's exciting to me, because you never know where ideas come from.
Yes.
And if you don't write them down,
they're gone.
They vaporize.
Yes. Yep. No, you will not remember it.
So we're roughly about 5-6 weeks out from your book publication. I think you're coming off a.
No, I think it was already.
Well, so I think she means 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
My bad.
Any appearances or signings you guys scheduled? Because I think you were just out on an author tour, right?
Yeah, well, I was in Oklahoma City. I was in Kansas City. I'm here with you guys. I'm going to a shop in New Buffalo, Michigan tomorrow.
Nice.
And other than that, I mean, I don't know. I just on Substack, this woman named Kathy. I don't want to get her last name wrong, but I'll send it to you. Who publishes a newsletter there to promoting authors, and she's amazing. She sent something which was that the small publisher that I use uses Draft to Digital to send out the print books. Like, that's where this was made, and apparently the Universe was number 6 in last month of print books, which I had no idea, which is really cool. Yeah,
very nice.
So that means at least like half a dozen copies have been sold.
Right.
Or so.
Yeah. Or so. We'll bump that number up a little bit. All right. Well, I want to take this time to thank Mike for stopping by to talk to us about the Universe. As well as stated in the intro, this is our first video version of a chapter break. We're filming this one right from Luella's lovely new backyard.
That's right.
Very, very, very nice place here. I want to thank everybody out there for listening and now watching the Midwest Writers Room. I'm Ken Humphrey.
And I'm Luella Schmidt. Words ignite imaginations and spark change. Never underestimate the power of storytelling.
Midwest Writers Room is a production of the Wisconsin Writers Association. Writing and editing by Luella Schmidt and Ken Humphrey. Sound design and editing by Ken Humphrey. Music for the Midwest Writers Room was written by Michael Ramir C. For more information, please visit wiwrite.org/podcast. Thank you.